Hello, this is Jer playing Oxygen Not Included. In the last episode, I made it to cycle 100. So what do I have for this space today? I would like to continue the expansion of food production. I'm going to start off growing sleet wheat, and ultimately going to be making pepper red, and possibly, if there's time tonight, also doing food storage. If not, that'll probably be next episode. That's on this base. And the base over here, they already are producing food, barbecue meat. We'll be relying on that for a little bit. But I think the problem over here isn't food. The problem here is cooling. I don't have a lot of cool spots, and the base is starting to warm up. So we need to put in a cooling system. Well, let's get started at this. Starting over in this space, I'm having some salt water emptied right here, so I can start the process of digging around here in a vacuum. But I don't want the dupes to breathe out carbon dioxide, so I better put in some gas masks before I send dupes to continue digging along in that area. And this is where I'm going to put the cooling system. Steam turbine is going to exist above here. So we're getting some broken pipes after this water sieve, and it's not due to the polluted water that's down here that is warm enough, but the area that it goes through is actually too cold, so it has a chance potentially to chill down. So I'm going to stop this process, stop it actually by cutting the input to it, and what we're going to do is we're going to insulate these pipes just for a little bit of temperature protection. So, maybe I should have used Atmo suits here, but we are getting carbon dioxide in this zone. Looks like the dupes do output carbon dioxide even though they're wearing masks. So that's not a big problem. All we need to do is put a pump here, and after they leave, then this area will return to a vacuum. The new insulated line over here, hoping that this will solve this whole issue. You can see temperature here is currently not in the freezing spot, so that is good. Continuing to produce more steel at the moment, so that should help warm things up so we can get over here without freezing in the pipes. It's liquid at this spot is 6 degrees. I do see some damage here, but hopefully this is just going to be one final repair for the next little bit. So we're not going to get a steam turbine built without a material study terminal. A material study terminal is not going to run without some radiation, which I'll need uranium ore for that. So the dupes need to dig out this small little cache of uranium ore to get that off the ground. Sending some ceramic that was produced in this world over to the other world. I'm going to be sending some steel over soon too. We are out of hydrogen, so that's been reducing the amount of power. Pow is on the wheel. I might need to get one other dupe on a wheel as well. Going to temporarily get rid of this hydrogen generator, and let's put in one or maybe even two more manual generators. If I wasn't going for the super sustainable achievement, I'd definitely be burning coal, because we've got a lot of coal thanks to these guys. Starting to carve out a room here for a material study terminal. So I'm going to generate the rad bolts up here, and the material study terminal is going to be down here, and I'm going to aim to make this a lavatory. So up in this zone, the dupes now have the mechanized airlock. I right now have vacuum, which is stopping the coolness from up here going down here. So I can, in a controlled way, get this area nice and cool when I need to. And I've got a little thermo sensor that's detecting when that's needed. Well, since this project's being held up because we don't have the research for steam turbines, and the fact that power is a little bit of an issue, I'm now directing heavy watt wire to go down along this line and digging out a spot here where I can put steam turbines and get power from all of this hot temperature. So we can now research renewable energy. So I'll do that right away. Just have to wait for the first rebels to be produced. Actually, why don't we put some uranium ore in this bin so make it easy for the dupes to refill this when it's needed. And I've got automation to tell this to shut off power to these three guys when this thing is full. And of course, we've got that all sitting in a laboratory just to have a little bit of effect, plus some lights for the dupe to see while they're operating that machinery. So dug in this area, and we've got sour gas. That, I think, is because the crude oil has gotten too hot. I forget the property of bisylite. Bisylite generally is a good insulator, except for the fact when it's already this hot, it interacts very strongly with liquid when liquid is staying on top of it. So we got to back out of this situation really quickly. Let's remove the pieces of bisylite that's here. I don't think that's necessarily the problem. The problem's mostly this liquid. We've got some gas in there, so we'll want to start to fill this in like this. Do that piece by piece. Otherwise, we're going to run into issues here. While Brains attends to the material study terminal when it's charged, I'm having the rest of the dupes up here do some insulation. This is a very cold area. I don't want this area to get too cold. I just want it to be the right temperature, hence the thermosensor. But I can help control the temperature if I've got insulated tiles all the way up like that. It's also going to help me if I decide to pump up something like carbon dioxide that I don't want to freeze in the pipes. Built a more efficient oxygen filtering system over here, just for a bit of power savings. It's pretty nice given the fact that this base is having power issues. So that's going to allow me to still produce oxygen in various different atmosuits, but without the need of that little bit of a filter. So make sure that is directing oxygen in all directions. Looks good from here. So the dupes have sealed up this area. I've stopped the liquid from dumping in here. I want just the right amount of liquid so that once I destroy this, I don't have any liquid, specifically that crude oil, sitting on top of this abyssal. I just want vacuum area right here. That's very important. Otherwise, I will get sour gas, or if I put water there, I will get steam, that type of thing. So we'll see how we do when the dupes destroy this tile. Just really hoping that doesn't leak down. Oh, let's have a look here. Dupes are going in, and we're looking good. Awesome. So we can continue digging along. Now, I gotta look here. I don't think... Ooh. Is this, I guess the question I have, is this overpressured? One thing I don't want to have happen is all this magma to essentially bubble up because the pressure's too high. Let's make a save. I'm going to call this magma because it could go terribly wrong. I'm not sure at what pressure. I know water over 1,000 causes an issue. Let's just have a look to see if I can dig out a bit of a spot for this to sort of fill in. So it'll fill in down here instead of up in the base. About to find if there's too much pressure in this magma and if that's going to essentially cause us problems or not. Just one more tile to go. Now I do have a backup plan. 2 plans actually if this is an issue. Okay, it does not seem to be an issue. Let's see if it's an issue right here. Because what I was going to do is I was going to build obsidian tiles along here, and I can do that kind of at a diagonal just to prevent that from going up, but maybe that's not the case. It's looking like it's happy. So we'll I'm going to make an obsidian ladder right here and here. I'm going to continue digging along, because what I'm doing is aiming for 10 tiles where steam turbines are going to exist. And I can see we'll need to dig out a bit here, maybe make insulated tiles at the end. Brains has been busy in the material study terminal. We can now build a steam turbine, having them research a gas range. Up here, the dupes are putting the final touches on this room. What I'm going to do is have hydroponic farms that essentially going to be growing some sleet wheat insulation underneath this, because I don't need to cool this whole area. I just need this area where the sleet wheat itself is growing to be at the appropriate temperature. It is time to get rid of all that mealwood we're growing here. I've got a farm that's expanding over here, growing grub fruit plants. We'll rely on that until the other system for sleet wheat and that is set up and ready to go. The other base is struggling a little bit with food, so let's expand the amount of farming that we're doing over here. Having some emergency food sent over to the other world because they are struggling. Hey, don't. Guess they only bring that back. Guess they're at high priority putting it back in the fridge. Not giving enough time for the auto sweeper to pick up at all. But let's go over see how many calories. 0 calories on this world. So what I did is got the cuddle pips over here so they can at least cuddle up with those eggs that are there. And I guess we can get some meat from these guys. And we're just waiting. We got lots of eggs, so we got lots of potential food. We just need to wait for them to hatch. So if we can survive until then and maybe expand this area just a little bit to produce food. I don't want to have to put in some meal lice again. That's going to be a last resort. Having some of these Sweetles dropped off over here. Actually, maybe do the same thing with their egg. Because all these crops are getting, in addition to the farmer's touch, I also see some of the Sweetle tending. So more Sweetles there. More likely it is. That's going to continue to happen. So I would like a lot more ceramic. There isn't ceramic here. I don't want the dupes to have to fill a small amount of clay into this, and I see a lot of clay down here. So what I'm doing is just drilling conveyor loaders and conveyor line to dump that clay here to automate this part of the process so we can get ceramic production back online. Some oil slickers are in this zone. Oh, dupes, if you close that. I've been waiting for this exact moment. It's very annoying because the dupes don't get down here. One of these critters could go back in. That's why I'm putting this mechanized airlock in so I can open and close it quickly. So I'm having to wait for the dupes. Okay, well, we still have one down here, but not in here, which is the main point. Whew. Alright, well, what I'll do is I'm going to open this door when it's created, and when these two finally get out on this side, I will close it, because I don't want to close in this zone with some critters stuck in there. Okay, so just watch the critter leave. Hopefully this button will close this door quick enough. And now if I hit auto on this, as long as we don't have trap a dupe or a critter right here, there we are. Whew. Okay, so I can open this door. In fact, I can even destroy it now, knowing that I don't have critters in this zone. We can seal this area off finally. For some reason, crude oil decided to fall down here and it is slowly heating up. Shouldn't say slow, but medium speed, let's say, heating up. Let's get one of the dupes to mop that up and get it out of there, because that could turn this whole area to sour gas once it heats up. That is not what I want. Alright, so we did that. Let's now take that crude oil, move it out here at high priority to avoid that from happening. This little door is taking some damage. Let's get rid of it. I think that's going to prevent the dupes from getting on top of this, but we can build a ladder just like that. So this area is now sealed off, putting some cooling line on top of it. This is one of these cases. I'm trying to remove all this material. I've got a case for what I want to do here. But, because essentially I want to store liquid at this location. Make that, yeah, I better make that out of steel. But I want to remove all the material that's sitting there. But it is kind of annoying to do that one by one. This is just one of those cases. I'm going to put a sweep all bin and just mark everything to be moved into it. I can see that I've got some crude oil that can't be moved. I'll move that in this way. So over on this space, dupes are making good progress on insulation of this very cold area, making their way all the way to the top. And with that insulation, that's preventing this area from getting far too cold. So it is now below freezing. That is ideal for sleet wheat, but I do want to be careful because I do have to push water in there. Definitely be putting insulated pipes once I get to that point. Alright, so what I'm doing now is sending the smallest amount of water into this liquid reservoir. So I'm going to cut this there and have this directed. Oh, I just need to connect it right here as well. So that's going to send a small amount liquid to be stored in here. And that's what I'm going to be feeding into this zone. Now, right now, it's not set up the way I want. I don't want this to go off at the moment. So, how about... Oh, goodness. There's not many options, but actually delaying when the water actually goes in there. Let's put that through a NOT gate. Or you know what, actually, let's put a manual sensor in there for now. And I'll come back when that's created. So now we've got a switch here, which means water's not going to go out until I say. So now it is safe finally to send water in there. So that's going to be heading into here. And when I decide it's going to go in here, I'm just waiting for a final bit of material from the other world. A little bit of aluminum to create another steam turbine, first of all, right here. A little bit more ceramic in a few more places. Well, I'll be ready to turn on this and generate a lot of power. So making 3 steam turbine areas. This is the power production area. Got this steam turbine and a thermal aqua tuner. This job is going to be keeping the oil refinery in these steam turbines cool. Now when I say cool, I'll probably aim for about 50 or so degrees. Not comfortable enough for the base, but comfortable enough for this zone. But I want to have a separate line up here. This is an aqua tuner, and this is going to keep the base cool, probably room temperature or so, to ensure the dupes are happy. So just a little bit more. Now I can't really put these aqua tuners on in my mind until this system is ready, because this is going to take a lot of power to run 2 of these guys. So taking an ethanol line from down here, just going to put a liquid bridge across this, and that's going to go up into my sleet wheat area. I already have water line going in. I'm doing some insulation where it's cold, but this ethanol line is essentially going to be infinite circuit, taking very cold temperatures from this granite and just visiting the actual plants themselves. So putting in a cooling line, going to be accessing the salt water that I have to fill this, but what's going to happen is this is going to be a little circuit that visits these 2 buildings plus the steam turbines, and it just keeps them cool with the aqua tuner. Going to take the temperature here and aim for about 50 or so degrees. Now I don't want to have these guys turn on until this is active, because it's not going to take a whole lot to get these to the point that they're too hot to be able to operate. But it shouldn't take the dupes too long to put this in place. So I been upgrading this line here to a heavy watt wire and going around this area, trying to avoid the base. That's not actually connected to the regular heavy watt wire system, but what I'm going to do now is separate this. Now this is not active, and all I have to do is connect it here. And this conductive line, I'll even just delete this, just to avoid accidents in the future. That's now allowing me to have this circuit down here. And the main reason for that is because this guy is going to take a lot of power, but we also have some 2 power producers, and this should be in a power plant. Oh, and look at that. We already have an engine tune-up, even though they're not active. But they will be soon, so that will be very useful. So built this critter drop-off spots for slickers. That's just because I have printed one. So I figured they'd be a lot. Oh, we don't need to attack. Oh, you can't wrangle. Oh, well, never mind then. I guess they're just going to be a source of meat. And I guess I can get rid of that. Okay, so I have filled this line here with some salt water. It's just going round and round and visiting this guy when it needs cooling. Now this stuff is powered down, both the pump, but once I have the thermo aqua tuner, but once this is blocked off, we're going to create a vacuum in here, and then we will power all these things back online. So with this area sealed off, I can now turn it on. Be careful about this because I want to turn on, love this cutting tool, I want to turn the pump on, but not this guy yet. So let's do that. I'm going to connect the pump. So the pump is, that's right, I've got to open the door. Actually, it wouldn't matter, because with this guy having the door open, it's not going to be able to run anyway. But this is going to start the process for getting a vacuum in this area. And that's going to allow this steam turbine to be able to run, and I'll need some water in this zone, so I need to think about that. I guess we've got to, you know what? Let's just redirect the salt water back into this line over here. So this base is hurting for power. So in the same way that I made a steam turbine in the other base, I need to get down here and do the same thing from the hot temperatures from the bottom of this asteroid, but at the same time I really want to get this base or this area constructed, and it nearly is. So as soon as this is done, I might pivot from a pinch of pepper plants and get down here and deal with power. Over on the other base, nearly able to turn on this system here. This is pretty exciting. Vacuum still doesn't exist yet, but it will soon enough. So we'll have a cooling zone. Actually, I have 2 cooling zones. One here, just maintaining about 50 or so degrees so that these machines can operate. And then up here is our base cooling, having the dupes start to fill this with liquid to go all the way around this, including the steam turbines themselves. Oh, speaking of which, I also need to make sure this guy stays cool too. It is cycle 120, and I think we're just about ready to try out the steam turbine system. So if this battery is indicating that it's needed power, I put a value of 6085 for now. Actually, maybe I'll even bump that up to 65. We'll see how those numbers go. So if that is the case, or things are way too hot here, it's going to send a true signal. That's after going through a NOT gate is going to essentially be false, meaning we close the door. That's what I'm intending to do. But for experimenting purposes, I'm just going to run with this for now. So I'm going to open this, or close this rather, meaning that the door is going to be closed. That's going to direct water for the first time to go into here. And technically, we could create a vacuum right there. But there it is. Our first steam turbine is operating. And they're both at full capacity. We'll see if that's enough liquid. I think it is. But the idea here is once enough power is generated, then we should be getting the signal to open this door up so any new liquid doesn't go back into the system. And we're getting power only when we're needed, and we're not cooling this area off unless it actually has a purpose to it. Okay, so we still don't have a vacuum here, but we're going to soon, so I'm going to risk actually connecting this. And I can always switch this over. I'll keep that button available to me if I need it. So right now, this is indicating that we don't need power. Now, because I have this set at 65, that means we may want to change. Well, no, these are set to 50. Actually, I think we probably still want to burn hydrogen first, because otherwise that's just going to be accumulating for nothing. But if we do run out of hydrogen, and we're going to run out of hydrogen once this guy starts to operate, these will be here to take its place to produce more power. I wish I had that over on the other base, because this is, I have big power problems over here. Just running low on hydrogen. I'll actually be curious when this guy is operating, but I'm not going to analyze that just yet. Over here we've got the Sleet Wheat Farm, and do we have ethanol making its way? Ethanol is, yeah, there it is. It's making its way up. That's going to create, I'm going to set this up to be an infinite circle around here. This is about, actually, I think, appropriate temperature that we can plant some sleet wheat. Why can I not see sleet? Oh, do we not have access to sleet wheat? We must. Sleet wheat seeds somewhere. If I don't, I'm sure I could dig out some. There's some seeds there. I could tear into this zone. There's some seeds. Okay, so I need to do a little bit of digging around here to get access to some sleet wheat seed, but we're ready for the actual farm itself. So as soon as that's online, that'll be there. Now this base has, I didn't get as much done as I thought in this particular episode. I thought I'd get the pinch of pepper plant farm in line as well, but the actual farm itself exists, except for the fact ethanol line's going in. But yeah, didn't actually get Sleet Wheat Planet yet, but next episode, that's definitely going in, and then we'll do the other plants. And food production and storage, haven't even gotten at that, but that will be, I suspect that's going to be next episode, except for the fact that we might want to pivot from food and go to power production. I'm going to have to think about where the priority is right now, whether I want to up the quality of food or whether I want to do power production. I'm tending to think maybe I should have done power production, but I'll have a sleep on that. Anyways, in the meantime, thanks everyone for watching, liking, subscribing, and hopefully I will see you in a future episode where we'll up the quality of food and fix the power situation on this base, as well as advance other things. Well, until then.